Dear Ohio State fans, get ready for news that will touch your heart. Have you already prepared yourself for the bombshell that I'm going to tell you here today? Let's remember the exciting penultimate game of the high school football season whose final seconds coincided with the annual countdown in Times Square. Both teams finished simultaneously and everyone who followed the clock and the Peach Bowl knew what would happen next. We would say goodbye to 2023 and the defending champion Georgia Bulldogs would exit the playoff. Everyone also knew what would happen next of these two. TCU, a classic second division program, would receive an imaginary silver medal and Ohio State would take home its second trophy. Ryan Day would become the third consecutive head coach in Columbus to win a national title. But let's continue. But first, make sure to click the button below to subscribe to the channel, because here I bring news to keep you always informed about the best college team in the country. Thank you. Continuing, this would be your trademark for the season and beyond. He could beat Michigan again, won such an absolute final. The favorites awaited them and it would be guaranteed at midnight. Ending a year with a moment like this seemed impossible, but we need to go back just 10 minutes before the turn of the year in 2023 to value a year that began with a moment equally impossible on the first day. C.J. Stroud threw for 573 yards and 6 touchdowns. Champion, and he was not the MVP of the impossible game. That trophy went to Jackson Smith and Jiga, who contributed 347 of those yards and half the points of the secondary target, Marvin Harrison Jr. He arrived with just 5 receptions. He returned to Columbus with more than double that total plus his first 3 touchdown receptions. He ended 2023 as the best receiver in the season and also winning the season's Nick of Award. Marvin started 2023 as a secondary target. Impossible. The first day was kind, although it started with some difficulties in the first half. Ohio State looked like a group of players wearing matching team outfits barely knew each other. Part of their operation team was absent. Garrett Wilson and Chris Alov were on the bench waving towels about their heads as the players on the field waited for someone to save them. The best receiver among them, along with Stroud's secondary, ended up overcoming Ohio State, the quarterback sliding between the Georgia defenders and making his way through the Buckeyes' defense, with the Wendy's sign painted on the icy grass of an imaginary Central Ohio game. Once the Buckeyes realized they were the legitimate aggressors, Utah found itself in trouble even without Wilson and Olave. UT and former Ohio defensive star, the state committee's Clark Phillips, was the only formidable obstacle in Stroud's way, and he could not stop them alone. This would make it impossible for the Rose Bowl in the year 2023 to begin with a video game duel and points dispute in a game in which the last team scores the victory, and then the inverted dynamic in Atlanta. Ohio State began New Year's Eve as the aggressor in force, rude and commanding the team for most of the night, while the Bulldogs suffered moments when their parts didn't add up to the whole they were. Ryan Day, he was the coach who turned the tide against Utah after a first quarter warm-up on New Year's Day. He would be the coach who turned the tide against Georgia New Year's Eve. This coach, beloved Ohio State fans, I would like to remind you all of the exciting 2022 Peach Bowl was an incredible game that had an unexpected and exciting result. Ohio State faced the Georgia Bulldog, who were the defending champions. The game, it was extremely competitive with a lot of emotion and twists and turning. Ohio State started the game in a great way, impressive with quarterback C.J. Stroud throwing for 573 yards and 6 touchdowns. However, the surprising highlight of the game was wide receiver Marvin Harrison Jr., who had an exceptional performance with 347 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. He became the highlight of the game and was instrumental in Ohio State's victory. The game was decided at the last second, with Ohio State scoring the winning touchdown. It was an incredible moment for Ohio State fans as they celebrated winning the Peach Bowl and the team's second college football playoff. Coach's Day national title winner Ryan also played a key role in this achievement as he became the 3rd consecutive Ohio State head coach to win a national title, further solidifying his legacy on the team.